Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got quite the stack this time.
We certainly do. We're jumping into the foundational work of Carl Jung.
Yeah, think of it as a mental expedition. We're looking at the unconscious, dreams,
Psychological types, too. All the big early ideas.
and trying to figure out why maybe, your perfect Saturday night involves a library and someone else's involves a loud concert, no judgment.
Exactly. Our mission today is basically to pull out the key wisdom from these texts.
Make it usable, right? Without needing that PhD in psychoanalysis first. Like finding the cheat codes for the human mind.
Perfect analogy. We've got his collected papers on analytical psychology, dreams, the big one on psychological types, and the theory of psychoanalysis.
It's a great spread. Covers the early ground.
It really does. And like he said in the collected papers, it's an exploration of psychological states that blur the lines between normalcy and pathology.
Which, let's be honest, sometimes feels like it describes just living. Or definitely family holidays.
You might not be wrong there.
Okay, so let's dig into that first big idea. This enigmatic nature of the psyche. It really comes through in the sources.
It does. Especially in those collected papers, his early work, he was fascinated by states on the fringes.
Like what sort of things?
Well, things like hysteria, epilepsy, even some somnambulism, sleepwalking. Stuff that isn't our everyday conscious experience.
Right. It's like our minds have these, I don't know, secret rooms, and sometimes the doors just fly open unexpectedly.
That's a good way to put it. And he talks about this one case, a woman having these incredibly vivid hallucinations.
Okay.
And Jung noticed this potential link between her psychological distress, which was obviously intense, and a sort of raw creative expression.
Huh. So the same energy, maybe, just
Yeah.
channeled differently. Or not channeled.
Possibly. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? About intense emotion in art. Could that be a more, let's say, integrated form of that same psychic energy finding an outlet?
Wow. It's like your brain trying to put on a huge show, but maybe the wiring's a bit faulty or the special effects are just dialed up to 11.
Something like that. And the key thing is, Jung wasn't just, like, cataloging weirdness.
Oh.
No, he was actively calling for more scientific study, proper investigation into these enigmatic states, as he called them.
He wanted to understand the whole thing, the glorious weirdness included.
Exactly. Not just the bits that fit neatly into the existing theories of the time.
Makes you think about our own odd thoughts, right? Those fleeting feelings or weird ideas we all get. Maybe they're not just, mental static.
Could be signals from deeper levels.
I sometimes have these incredibly detailed plans in the shower for like rearranging the entire house. My subconscious is clearly an aspiring interior designer.
Or just enjoys aquatic brainstorming.
Yeah.
But it points to Jung's question, really.
Which is?
How much do we really know about the hidden corners of our own minds? What we call normal might just be, well, one small part of a much bigger, wilder landscape.
The psyche, that's the whole mind, right? Conscious, unconscious, the works.
That's Jung's usage, yeah. The totality of it.
Okay. So speaking of those hidden depths, next insight. Dreams.
Yes, dreams. Crucial for Jung. The book title alone tells you that.
He didn't see them as just random neurological fireworks, did he?
Not at all. In Psychology of the Unconscious, he talks about them as symbolic expressions. They bubble up from the deeper layers.
Deeper layers.
Yeah.
So the unconscious again.
Right. But for Jung, it wasn't just the Freudian idea of repressed desires down there. It was also about, like, untapped potential, these universal patterns.
Okay.
Archetypes.
Okay, archetypes. That's a big Jungian idea we might need to tackle another time. But the point is, the unconscious is this huge reservoir.
Huge. Full of thoughts, feelings, memories outside our awareness, but still influencing us. And dreams. They're like messages sent up from the depths.
So the classic dream. Back in high school, exam time, and you're naked.
Uh-oh.
Not my dream, just saying. That's probably not a literal wish to relive teenage awkwardness.
Probably not, no. More likely symbolic, right? Feeling vulnerable, unprepared, exposed.
Or maybe you just ate way too much cheese before bed.
Well, Jung might argue even the cheese dream has symbolic weight.
Seriously? Like what?
Maybe a craving for comfort. Or feeling weighed down by something. The point is, dream logic is definitely weird.
Definitely weird.
But probably not random. There are clues there, veiled in symbols, insights into maybe unresolved stuff or parts of ourselves trying to emerge.
So, worth paying attention to, even the really bizarre ones with talking animals or flying cars.
According to Jung, absolutely, they're a window.
Okay, window into the weird, got it. Which kind of leads us nicely to insight number 3, psychological types.
Right. The book title itself, Psychological Types, is pretty direct.
Now, our sources didn't spell out like introversion, extroversion, all the specific types people might know from, online quizzes.
No, the summaries focus more on the foundational idea behind the types, which is just as important, really.
And that idea is,
Basically, that people have these distinct, fundamental psychological tendencies, different orientations. It shapes how you perceive the world, how you interact with it.
so it's not just preferences, it's deeper, like how your internal compass is set.
Kinda, yeah. It's about where you naturally direct your energy, what drains you, what recharges you. And crucially, one way isn't better than another. Just different wiring.
Like you said earlier, the library person versus the concert person, or social butterflies versus cozy caterpillar.
Exactly. Butterflies recharge by flitting around. Caterpillars maybe need a quiet leaf and some thinking time.
Neither is objectively a superior insect life strategy.
Precisely. And understanding your own leaning, are you drawn outwards or inwards, can help with, well, everything. Work, relationships.
Even choosing a movie. Have you ever noticed those consistent patterns in yourself or others? How people react differently to the same situation.
All the time. And Jung's work suggests that's often tied to these underlying types.
So knowing this helps with self-awareness, obviously.
Hugely.
Yeah.
But also empathy, right? If you get
Yeah.
that someone else operates differently, maybe their reaction that seems weird to you makes perfect sense for them.
Right. You appreciate the rich tapestry of human wewdness a bit more.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It helps bridge those gaps in understanding.
Okay, final insight. Let's look at the theory of psychoanalysis. This is Jung sort of
Yeah.
situating his ideas, right? Especially next to Freud.
Exactly. It's like watching the early map makers of the mind. Freud drew some major continents, and Jung was saying, okay, great start, but look at these mountain ranges and rivers I'm finding over here.
He wanted to connect the theory with what he was actually seeing with patients.
Yes. Bridge the gap between practical experience and the established theories. He wasn't just accepting Freud's ideas wholesale, but he wasn't just crashing them either.
More like building on them, or maybe diverging.
Both, really. He was engaging with core concepts, infantile sexuality, repression, trauma, but synthesizing them with his own observations.
Yeah.
Suggesting different interpretations or mechanisms sometimes.
Were there big disagreements?
Oh, yeah. A major one was the unconscious itself. For Freud, primarily repressed stuff. For Jung, it was that, plus this whole other layer, the collective unconscious, full of inherited universal archetypes. That was a big split.
So he was pushing for psychoanalysis to be more flexible, based on evidence.
Definitely. Keep observing, keep learning, update the maps. He stressed that it needed to be a dynamic field, grounded in clinical reality, not just sticking rigidly to the first drafts of the theory.
It's a good reminder, isn't it? Even brilliant people need to be willing to revise their ideas. Like when your GPS tells you to drive into a lake.
Huh, exactly. Sometimes you need to trust what you're actually seeing over the old map.
So the takeaway is, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep the field alive and evolving based on real experience.
That's the core of it, an empirical, growing understanding of this incredibly complex thing we call the mind.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive today, we've touched on the mysterious depths of the psyche,
The symbolic whispers in our dreams.
those fundamental differences in how we're wired, our psychological types.
And the need for our understanding of the mind to keep evolving, right? Based on observation.
So for everyone listening, maybe the invitation here is pay a little more attention.
Yeah, maybe reflect on those, stranger corners of your own inner world, those weird dreams.
Notice your own tendencies, what energizes you, what drains you.
It could offer some pretty surprising insights into who you are, how you move through the world.
Absolutely. Jung's early work, even just these glimpses, it really shows how vast and fascinating our inner landscape is.
It really is.
So keep exploring your own terrain. Maybe even, dare I say it, keep a dream journal by the bed, see what bubbles up.
Couldn't hurt. Understanding these foundational ideas, even just a little, can be a really powerful tool.
For self-discovery, maybe being a bit kinder to yourself.
And understanding others better, too. Appreciating the diversity.
Definitely. Well, thanks for diving deep with us once again.